Welcome. All right, so we're gonna get right into it, peoples. So the question is rent too high? Now, I made a video saying it was about the Swatch and AP. Americans fake broke? So if you know, I will title, well, the video is out. You all can find it, and I may tag it to this video. So housing is has always been a pressing issue, especially in the last 5 years, 10 years, to say the least. Now, for me, I've always been able to afford wherever I stay. I've had roommates, and I've also have not had roommates, right? So I was in a relationship, so I was able to go where I was able to afford. Okay. So even like now, I'm where I can afford. And even in the future, I'm going to live wherever I can afford. It's all about where I can afford, not necessarily where I think I deserve to live at. Now, it doesn't mean people think, people pay $2,000 in rent or $3,000 in rent thinking that, okay, who are you trying to impress? Who are you trying to impress? Because people don't want to live in the areas that's less ideal, right? There's plenty of places that you can live at that's pretty decent. Okay. I was doing like apartment searching just for inquiries and visibility. And, my range, I looked at what my range is. I'm like, oh, and, you research the apartment, research the area, whatnot. And I'm like, you know what? I can definitely swing that. Okay. So it's hard to just make something now. Again, the key thing is affordable, right? Because if you make something too affordable, you got to think about the things about the quality of life, you know, the public safety. Okay, there's a reason why prices are what they are in the community upkeep, right? Because you don't want to just make something. I think people just want rent to just be a dollar. You trying to drive people out of business. Okay. Even if it's $500, you're gonna, again, people have to look at their budget and look at their costs. Again, get what you can afford. $2,000 is made, you can live wherever you want to live. But a lot of y'all complain and saying, well, I don't want to have enough. I don't want to just be working just to pay the rent and I don't have no money for myself. Well, again, get what you can afford. Practice group economics. If you got to move back in with a parent or parents for a little bit, do so. Listen, I'm not gonna shame you, and I don't think most people it's economically feasible. It's a cost savings. Now, what I will advise against is not increasing your lifestyle. I think a lot of people increase their lifestyle to accordance to what they make. So you think because you get 3, 4 extra dollars on your job, now you think you can afford $25 worth of rent. You may be able to do it early on, but you got to know life will happen. Okay. It's not a matter if, it's when. So I don't know, man. Like again, like I all again, even when I had roommates, did I have people complain about the rent? Sure. Which was asinine to me because I'm like, well, it's three of us. And even some of them was slick enough to squeeze their girlfriends in there and they still was complaining about the rent. I'm looking like, sir, what's going on? Why? But then you find out, oh, you giving your money over to your chick, whatever and all that, and she's burning you dry, whatever and all that. So you looking at us like now you saying, man, we all need to know. See, I don't mind. Again, I don't mind. And I was living with my friends. I will do a separate video on that, right? But people gotta understand that wages are never gonna keep up with inflation. Okay, never. Okay. That's why it is very important to, again, make more money. I know you might say, "Well, chances," I mean, but you gonna have to do something because if you want to you got to think about this. It's a lifestyle thing. Maintain your living. You got to ask yourself how much it's gonna cost you to live and maintain the same life you are living now, 10 years from now. can you, if you lose it all, if you have a down period, can you sustain? Okay. Can you sustain? So again, this is a couple things to think about, because again, even in my case, like I said, I got a promotion recently and whatnot, and I'm adjusting the numbers because I have to adjust for the numbers as well because it's a tax thing as well, too, right? It's a tax thing and income. Because again, I don't, because the last thing you want to do, spend your extra and I say, oh man, stuff is hot. Okay, well, listen, make some adjustments. People, what I know is people always will moan and complain about when you tell people to do the thing that's in their best interest. They are going to be bickering and complaining and look at you like a deer in the headlights. And it's simple. All you just gotta stay down for a little bit. Stay down for a little bit. Why do you think if you make, okay, if you guys want to make $350,000, $150,000, whatever, why do you think you have to show it? Why do you think you gotta increase your lifestyle? Why do you think you gotta increase your living? You're not guaranteed. Y'all think that y'all guaranteed $150,000 a year like it's a sports contract. Even if you get cut or get traded or whatnot, it's not guaranteed. So you have to understand, like you have to do something, it's sustainability or whatnot, right? And so what I mean is, and I know I'm about to get into the show. This is my opening monologue. What I mean is that again, you got to think about yourself 10, 15, 20 years from now. You don't want to just, even if that, because you got to understand, layoffs happen, you get fired. It's hard. Like again, once you start making a certain amount of money, even if you're married or whatever and all that, it's hard. Again, if you're making north of $250,000 or whatever the number is, and if you push your lifestyle up to that or whatnot, it's hard to just get $250,000 again, unless you was already doing something that you're not touching that 250,000, but you managed to make a $250,000 or $150,000 or $75,000. I'm just throwing numbers out there, okay? Because everywhere, yes, has rent went up across the board, sure, but there's still pockets of places around this country that you can live in that are fairly decent and they are affordable. And you'll be surprised, some places the rent, once you move in, you may have one rent jump. There may be one rent increase, and there may be cases where the rent go down. That has happened when in my last place, the rent did go down. Because when you sign a longer lease, for example, you are charged less. You sign a 15-month lease because they rather re apartment complex if they can. They rather try to keep you there longer. I mean, 12 months. I mean, you could be there 12 months, 13 months, but the longer the lease agreement, you lock it in, you at that price. There's no change. Okay. So let's get right into it, man. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and click that notification button. Let's start with the lady from Atlanta. We'll get her name in the description.
Atlanta, y'all need to calm down with these rent prices. It's kind of getting a little ridiculous. We already know that the rents are going up everywhere, but I'm just confused why Atlanta is trying to act like they're New York and it's Atlanta. And the thing about it is, everyone is saying that they're a luxury apartment, so they're charging luxury prices, and they're really not luxury apartments. I'm so confused. But another thing that's pissing me off, why are apartments offering everything but what the people actually need? If you apply today, you don't have to pay an admin fee, application fee. We're going to give you a $500 gift card, a free flat screen TV, and a brand new car. Lower the rents. That's cute. Thank you. But lower the freaking rent. Or how about not requiring people to make 3 times of these ridiculous rent prices? How about 2 or 1.5? How about not requiring people to have an 800 credit score to get approved? There's so many other things we could do. The TV is so nice. Thank you. But how about do those things first? And then you might have less vacancies, because what I've been noticing too is people are not renting these places out. So let's find a solution.
Okay. Um, giving away $500 gift cards and nice TVs. Now I know some apartment complexes now they are including washer and dryer, which is I don't have a problem with that. And they may charge like $27 on top of the on top. Well, it may be baked into the cost, right? Maybe baked into the cost. I don't know where in Atlanta she lives, but you don't have to live somewhere where they give you gift cards. Now, that's a nice thing to have. Maybe around Christmas time, you know. Now, I do understand the 2, 3 times the rent. I do understand that because some people just, there's a reason for that. I think let me see if I because it's let's answer this question. I think one of these videos actually covered this. Why do apartments often require tenants to earn 3 times the rent to ensure affordability, reduce the risk of missed payments or evictions? The 3 times the rent rule is a common tenant screening guideline used by landlords and property management companies, especially in high cost cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. It means that a renter's gross monthly income before taxes and deductions should be at least 3 times the monthly rent of the apartment they are applying for. For example, if the rent is $1,500, landlords typically expect gross income at least $4,500. That's it. That's all. That's all it is. That's all it requires. Makes sense to me. Because let's just say, for example, like, okay, you bustling, you make hell of overtime, right? You don't necessarily make 4,500, but you're doing it through overtime, maybe tips and stuff like that, right? So you may have a down month, right? You may have a down period. You may have a down 2, 3 month period to ensure. Now, I mean, they do got flex pay. They got ways and means. They're not gonna just boot you out of there immediately right away. But I mean, eventually it will be some conversations that will be had. Okay. So you all gotta understand that again, that because I understand it. I don't think $1,500 is bad rent. You're not talking about Section 8 housing. People want Section 8 housing, but you don't want to live in the Section 8 housing area, you know. So move out of Atlanta. You ain't gotta, I mean, move. I mean, listen, like again, one of the things that I like, again, for me, for us regular people on planet Earth here, I'm not saying she's not regular. She actually nice looking. But but you gotta get like, listen, okay, like maybe think about moving out of the city limits. Okay. Now I don't know where this lady works, where her job, where everything's adjacent. My rule of thumb is if you can have a commute 30 minutes or less, no more than 30, 35 minutes. Because some people come from places like Duluth. I'm naming places if you are from the Metro Atlanta area or have lived here or visit here, you'll know these names. Like Duluth, for example, Marietta, Lawrenceville, Lawrenceville is a little hot. It's 85 South, so you just driving down to the city. There are people that live in Douglasville. There are people that live in Tucker, Shamley, Brookhaven, North Decatur. I'm just naming Dorville, Dunwoody, just naming a few. So how about just like it may inconvenience you for a little bit, but how about just maybe moving out of the city limits a little bit? Maybe drop the cost, maybe come down. Now I don't know if she has roommates or whatnot. If she do, I mean, it's understandable. But if you got roommates and the rent is still high, maybe again, maybe it's time to move. Get something you can afford. Okay. Now they throwing in their TVs and stuff like that. Now I'm like, okay. I can buy my own TVs. Okay. I can buy my own wash and dryer. And that's a luxury. Okay, mind you, it's a luxury. But I can if you give me a gift card for like signing like for that, fine, great. I mean, you maybe not $500 on my rent. Okay, we give you a $500 gift card, not $500 off the rent. But that's just okay for that's for that month. A lot of people prorate. Another tip that you could do when you're moving, or move in the middle of the month, because you got to think the market changes. So what will rent will be on a Monday will be different on a Tuesday. Sometimes rent prices change daily or change weekly, change every 2 weeks. Okay. So again, maybe it's probably crazy because you're trying to move where you want to move instead of moving where you can afford to move to. And again, there are plenty of decent, nice places around the Metro Atlanta area that you can live into, and you can, and it's quiet, it's comfortable, and it's safe. Okay, safe as it can be. All right, moving on. Okay, we're gonna go across the pond right quick, man. Again, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. So again, man, listen, we got a theme, man. We got a theme. It's the ladies up here. Okay, so we're gonna take this lady off and we're gonna go over across the pond, right? Y'all tell me if listen, y'all have to tell me if she's really missing out on any rent payments.
About the rental market in London at the moment? Is it
Look at
fair?
it. Check it out.
No, it's really high price.
She got the lips, the hair. I'm just listen. She's her eyes, her aesthetics. You know, she's got these out. I know it might be playing up to the camera or whatnot, but the nails, she ain't sure gonna pay no damn rent.
Like I literally had to move out of London. I just come by and do what I need to do, and then after that, I go back. I've moved to Kent because it's too high, and I would love to live back in London, but it's just like I've got things to do. I'm an adult. I can't just be paying rent. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So imagine you had the big power to make a change. What would you do different?
I think I would make it more fair for people, especially that are earning a certain amount, maybe to like have a certain rent areas for themselves. As like if it's a new build or something, maybe if it's like 2K a month plus bills included, maybe like they should put it down for some people that just work in 9 to 5, a normal 9 to 5, maybe you're not like a manager or you're not the company CEO or something. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
obviously you do get just the minimum pay,
That's very kind of you.
Yes.
Beautiful. So
Thank
what
you.
would you tell landlords if they could hear you? What message would you give them?
I mean, put the rent down a little bit. Like, we're in a recession.
Ain't no recession going on, girl. Ain't no recession going on with you. You a walking ATM machine. You got two things that I don't have. Nah, who you fooling? Who you fooling? I mean, I don't see no ring anywhere, but I don't think that. But who you fooling? My people in the UK. 'Cause I got some viewers over there in the UK. Not that many, but not as much as over here in the States. But y'all let me know. Like, who the lady fooling? Who this woman fooling? But I mean, like, again, it kind of comes back to the thing about bringing down prices and stuff like that. Now, I don't know what London prices are. Again, we'll do a quick search. Let's say, what are rent prices? And because overseas now, I mean, it's far more expensive to live overseas than in the States. And I mean, it's euros. So, okay, all right. Dang, we have to translate this. Okay, let's see. Compared to the United States. See, I mean, they bought up there with New York. Okay, 1-bedroom flats, 2,700, between 2,700 and 2,900. 3-bedroom flats, 46 to 6,300. Okay, these areas are often prime access to transport, culture, walkability, but are the most expensive in London. Okay, now you go to the outer zone, 2,000, 2,500, or 2,250. 3-bedroom flats, 2,850, 3,750. Okay. So 1 bedroom, prime Brooklyn, 4,100. 3 bedroom apartment in Manhattan, seven. So again, well, I mean, it's cheaper, but I mean, it's not as cheaper. I mean, you're talking about a couple $100 here and there. Okay, it's a couple $100. So London rents are over 36% lower than NYC's central rents. Okay. But again, ain't no recession going on with you, girl. Ain't no recession going on. Ain't no recession going on. You choosing. Again, I think you fake broke. I think you fake broke. Cause you listen, man, stop. But anyway, focus. Okay. But again, just doing a comparison of that. Okay. How low do y'all want these rent prices to be? Y'all really trying to y'all understand that the maintenance people got to get the maintenance people got to get paid, the leasing office got to get paid, the contractors got to get paid, the vendors like the upkeep. Cause then see when the upkeep slides, you'll be like, then y'all gonna be up in arms. Well, I don't understand why. No, listen. That's why when the rent is a little bit higher, you get less bad attitudes. Now, do people get kicked out? Yeah, I'm not saying you don't have no funky attitudes. You do have some dusty attitudes. But again, you ain't trying to fight a tenant. You know what I'm saying? You're not trying to listen. If the rent's 2,000, if I wouldn't be able to see her just like the last chick, like the last woman. I can't see them. I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know. But her, I can't see her paying be in an area where the rent is $500. Seriously. Not even 1,000. I see it's 2,000 and up. Maybe 1,500. But I can't see her going no lower than that. I can't see her paying $300. No. Anyway, make sure I hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. Let's move on, okay? Listen, let's move on. Let's get this. Listen, over getting distracted, okay? We got. All right, we gonna bring the next woman up.
Only reason that y'all think a 1 bedroom for $1,400 is okay? Yes, because y'all are from big cities and big states that a 1 bedroom is 22.
What is up with this nose ring? I mean, I'm not saying that I'm just saying the nose ring. But anyway,
$200 to $3,000. The reason that y'all think that $1,400 rent is okay is because y'all got. Y'all got by inflation. Y'all got by the economy. Y'all got by the government. Y'all succumbed to the peer pressure that they put on us, making us feel like that $1,400 is good. Like, you feel me? It's not 10 years ago no more, but 10 years ago was literally 2015, 16. That felt like yesterday. It was 2 bedroom apartments, 1,100 square feet for $900. 1,100 square feet for $900 to $1,000. And you think I'm gonna be happy because the world is to shit now and a 1 bedroom is $1,400? Oh, let me take it. What? Man, if I can't find nothing for $900, I guess I'm gonna be living with my mama for the rest of my life.
whoo, the fast talking there. Okay, all right. Diabolical picture right there. Still look good. My first apartment, it was $847. We was paying $847 a month. It was a 2 bedroom apartment. It was a big property, of course, so we had bigger units. So, so there was trash collection was an issue. We had rodents. We had a rodent issue because again, it's a bigger unit. That was 2015. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that. Again, you gotta understand if you're gonna find now, there may be people that like who has rental properties for 900, but that is far. I mean, again, I don't know where she's living at, whatnot, and maybe could be living in Atlanta as well. Maybe could be living in the South, but $1,400 today, again, like for 1 bedroom apartment, that's about what I was paying in my last spot. That's maybe 200, maybe adjusted for $200 more. Okay. Now, again, you're not going to find many $900 apartments. You're going to have to up your range a little bit. Okay. You got to put up again. You got to put up a little bit. Or again, get some roommates. Don't let them be your friends. Get you some, do a vetting process, get you a roommate or two, get you a roommate, right? Because I think you can, for this woman right here, I think you can afford a $1,400. Not counting the pockets or anything like that. I think again, she has two things that I don't have. She has breast and vagina. Now I'm not just trying to eject, again, and I'm pretty sure that she can articulate she can slow down and articulate her thoughts whatnot. So I don't want to say she's not a I almost keep on say dumb person. I don't think she's dumb. Okay. I think she know how to make money. Okay. I think she know. Now I may understand. You may not want to pay $1,400, but that's probably what you got to. That's probably what because again, that weaves out. I mean, because listen, because I was looking at one apartment in the complex earlier this year where all of the $1,000 rent units were completely sold out. And I think the next highest rent was $1,350. And I was like, okay. Keep that in mind. But you want to, and it's in prime area, whatnot, but you want to weave out. Sometimes the rent, sometimes $1,400 can try to you're trying to weave out certain people, certain elements. Okay. Now, doesn't mean you prevent that doesn't mean some of it don't creep through, but you want to try to prevent, because with $900, sweetheart, loud music, walking out your door, your hair smelling like you do a good job in maintaining yourself or whatnot. You ain't trying to be hearing no damn loud music all day, every day. You ain't trying to be coming home being like, guys, yeah, girl, hey, let me talk. You ain't trying to get hit with that. You ain't trying to get with that. You ain't trying to get hit with that. Okay, so $1,400, yeah, it weaves. You want good community policing. You want to be in apartments where police officers are on site, so if something do go down, whatever, and all that, people can respond to it. Okay, so you got to keep that stuff in mind. If you asking for $900, $800 of rent, you got to know what you're asking for. Okay, you get shoddy service. I'm not saying that you can't get shoddy service with $1,400 rent or whatnot, but you would get it more likely with $800-900 worth of rent. Okay, quality of life. Okay, public safety. Okay, and a good school system and public transportation as well. Because I mean, you don't, if you order an Uber Eats or DoorDash, you don't want it, because I used to, there were certain pizza places didn't even deliver, in the areas because of those previous elements I named. So again, keep that in mind. Keep some things like that in mind when you're looking for a place to stay. Not just the rent price itself, but the area that you're living in. Okay, you don't want to be ducking, dodging bullets. You don't want to have to fight the neighborhood to get to your unit or your door to get inside your house. You don't want to feel like you got to be barricaded in there. SWAT team over there, helicopters flying around. Come on now, you got to know what $900 of rent gonna listen. Unless you want to live in a country, but you don't want to live nowhere where, like, if you scream, right, you in West Bummerfuck and you screaming like, and you dying or whatnot. Oh, they're just the raccoons out there. I'm just saying. So keep that in mind. Keep those things what you're looking for, what type of, because you want to listen. Renting, of course, she doesn't sound like she want to like rent forever or stay with a mom forever, whatever, and all that, but you want it to be like home for the meanwhile. And what would you want your actual home to be like? So again, that's some stuff to keep in mind. That's things I took in consideration. If me and her was in a relationship, whatnot, we was together, we getting our life together, whatever. I again value safety first, comfort, convenience. If you call the maintenance people, that they're gonna handle the maintenance problem right then and there. They're not going to take over a week or two to get to you or get to us. We might hear a siren here and siren there, whatnot, because there's an old folks home down the street. You might hear some fireworks in there, but you're not hearing all that. You got to think all the cacophony. Ooh, look at that, dropping that big old word on y'all. Cacophony or crescendo of violence. We don't need that. So again, that's just my 2 cents on it. So we moving on to the next person. And you all may be familiar with this other person. I'm about to bring him up to the stage. Hey, if you all are still rocking with me, hit a like for the algorithm.
And it's so bad in America.
My man,
that the
Anton.
landlords are so out of touch with reality and what's really going on in America that they're still asking you for 3 times the rent. If I made 3 times the rent, I would not be applying to rent a place. I would be applying for an actual house. Keep it up. The cost of living is so bad in America that your credit score trumps even your income. Even if you make good income, those who know your credit score is bad, that's not going to get you nowhere. You got to have good credit and good income. The cost of living is so bad that some people have no choice but to live in a hotel or even live in a shelter because of credit, because they can't afford anything else, because everything is out of their price range. It's that bad. The cost of living is so bad that when we are applying to places to live, we're spending hundreds, almost $200 to $300 on application fees for places that we don't even know if we're going to get, because there's obviously no guarantee because they still got to run your background. It's that bad. The cost of living is so bad in America that most of us don't even live where our jobs are at, because typically wherever your job is at, it's way too expensive for you to be able to afford to live in the same area of your job. Some of us, not all of us, but if you know, you know. The cost of living is so bad in America that you have to split up your rent payments into 2 payments per month because it's too much to pay all at once. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you might save a little bit more money doing that because, you know, it's a good financial decision. But, you know, sometimes some bills, you just want to get them out the way. Okay, it's due at the first of the month, from the 1st to the 5th or whatever. You want to get that shit out the way. Don't worry about the other bills.
So I don't know where you can, if you have 3 times the rent as a deposit, then, you know, or if you can afford 3 times the rent, I don't know where you could just automatically qualify for a house. Where did they get that from? I don't know. The fact of the matter is that a lot of people, because she's not really talking about the cost of living. She's not talking about gas prices, groceries, all of that type of stuff. She's purely just talking about housing, which is a fair conversation to have. But I've never found housing to be unaffordable because I've always just lived where I can afford, right? From the time that I decided to move out of my mom's house, I wasn't ever feeling like I needed to move out of my mother's house because I was okay with practicing group economics because I didn't have anything better than to do. And my life wasn't going to change just because I was living in a different destination. I was living, working, and playing all in the same city. And so it just wasn't that big of a deal, but everybody was in a rush to move out.
So shout out to Anton Daniels. Yeah. So he's right. I mean, I agree, you know, not just because it's Anton, but it made me think as well because, like, at one point in time, I was at least, when I got my first car, at my previous employer, when I stayed where I was staying at, the job was like less than like 8 minutes away. I can literally get on the MARTA bus, go down to the bus go down to the main road, Mountain Industrial, get off, or it may cross over Mountain Industrial, get off, walk up, make a right, boom, I'm there. Now, some of us was fortunate enough to be close enough where, okay, we're like 15 minutes away, 10 minutes away, but others were like living in Conyers or Decula and Lawrenceville, and they working all over the city and whatnot. So when I moved out my mom's house in 2015, I mean, of course, it was just time. I mean, it was just okay. It's time to get on my own and whatnot. But I was okay. I mean, when like my job did move, my location did move. By that point, I had got a car. I moved a little bit up. I mean, my job moved a little bit up. So I, try to move where I'm close to my job. Like right now, I'm not. I'm like maybe 30 minutes away from where I'm currently working at. Do I have plans in the future to move a little bit closer back to the area? Sure. It was a luxury. Now I don't want to be a 1 minute away from the job and all that stuff like that. Certainly not. No, I want a bit of a commute here. I don't want to be that close to the job now. But I also too, I just realized that people were in a rush. A lot of people around that time even made fun of me. They was like, "Oh, you still live with your mom? You still live with your mom and all that stuff like that." Da da da. Da. And I look back at it now. I'm like, again, like, yeah, this is different, totally different circumstances, of course. Circumstances are different. But I'm not like people. Like when I moved back in, my mom, there was a big push to try to see, okay, what's my plan? What's your plan? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Do I plan on being here for a long time, forever? No, I don't. I don't. People were trying to get me to move right back out of this apartment, not my apartment, sorry, move back out of this place. I'm like, no, no, because at the time of everything, it would have cost me too much. And you know who would have to absorb the cost of that? Me. And so I sat my ass down where I'm at. I said, I need time, space, and a place to work and stay busy. And of course, the Lord. And I'll figure it out. We'll start figuring it out from there. Okay. But if you can, don't be in such a rush to move out. If you are with a parent, if you're currently still living with a parent, a loved one, hey, don't be in the rush. Don't adjust your lifestyle, of course. I mean, if you live, work, and play in the same place, in the same area, whatever, and all that. But again, I never, and the same thing with him. I never found it to be affordable. Now, again, if something was a little, I put it to you like this. Put a number in your head. What's the least amount you're willing to pay for rent? What's the most you're willing to pay for rent? And those things, those other factors I included in the last person that was that we was talking about. Keep those things in mind. Okay. You gotta think. You're paying 900. Okay. You gotta know what comes along with that. Versus if you paying 1900, 1500, 1300, 1400, 15. You gotta know what you're asking for. So if I never, for me, and even like me by myself, housing will never be unaffordable because I'm always gonna be able to live. I'm always gonna get what I can afford, and there's nothing wrong with that. And Anton has tons of resources or whatnot. And again, the same method applies. He talks about on his show. Get where you live, where you can afford. That's just simple. I don't want none. Do I want any of y'all living in $900 places? No. I mean, that's what you gotta do for a season or two, okay. But I don't want you to have to compromise your safety and your security just for some $900 rent. Where the threat of somebody breaking into your home and you gotta put them down. You don't want to always be on the news. You know what I'm saying? You don't want your apartments on the news all the time at all. So again, if you are in the season like I am or whatnot, hey, refocus, reallocate resources, refocus or whatnot, because listen, in the long run, it's a success story. At the end of it all, there is a success story in this. So, because again, if you can't afford if you complain about housing, right? If you complain about rent, what makes you think you can afford a mortgage? The mortgage companies ain't gonna be as generous as with a rent. They're not. No, get your ass up out of there. So that's another thing people got to keep in mind. If you're having a tough time paying your rent, staying on top of your stuff, what makes you think you can afford a house? Even if you say a house is more cheaper, but again, you can be upside down in housing. People are upside down in house, like they upside down in the auto, but this is not that. This is not that video. This is about housing. Because you ain't factoring in gas prices, groceries, transportation, and stuff like that, maintenance and stuff like that. We're talking about housing. Okay. So keep that stuff in mind. And same thing if you're looking for a house, get what you can afford. Anyway, make sure you hit the like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. All right, we're gonna move to the last part of this video, And my man said, listen, I titled this video, I thought y'all was broke. So I'm kicking y'all draws in your ass to bring it back all the way home. Okay. All right.
Y'all said the economy was messed up. Everybody been complaining about gas prices. Everybody was complaining about grocery prices. Y'all was complaining about electricity prices. But somehow, some kind of way, those Jordan Gamma Blue 11s that just came out, they sold out all across America with big lines outside the store like this right here.
We all figure out how to. I got you, bro. One side.
And see, for the ladies that were complaining about their rent, well, or why the rent ain't getting paid or whatnot, or why things, listen, there might be some of y'all boyfriends in there. Some of y'all men are probably in there spending up the rent money. Babe, why you tripping? I mean, come on. I mean, you got to think about us. I mean, but I got to get these J's. You been a J for some J's. Anyway, I'm just sorry. That's sidebar.
Look.
I don't want to hit none of y'all. Thanks. I'm on y'all. Swatches and all. I'm on y'all. Okay. All right. That's it. That ends that. So, okay. In conclusion, like again, I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear y'all talking about anything about y'all can't afford nothing. Y'all have the means and money for the stuff y'all want instead of the things y'all need. I don't know how y'all be struggling in your housing. How y'all still struggling with y'all housing? How? Now, if there was a significant drop in income or job loss, again, it's temporary. I get that. But once you back up, you up. How you still out here still struggling not to pay your rent, but you got money for those J's out there. You got money for those swatches. Our priorities are all over the place. All over the place. I don't get it. Save your money. Reduce the lifestyle a little bit. Make adjustments. Be honest with yourself. Be brutally honest with yourself. Okay? Trim the fat. Okay? because listen, as y'all watch this video, as y'all watch many of y'all, just like me or whatnot, we're going to be successful. We're on our way. We're trending up. The arrow is pointing up. It's going this way. You're going to get there. We're going to get there. It's not a matter if, it's when. It's when. It's when, like get the win, win. Don't be those people. Please don't be those people. Because again, over here at the night audit, we will be auditing your ass. We'll be checking y'all. The only thing that now, if you're talking about taxes, I'm with you on that. Taxes too high, or taxes they taxes there. I'm with you on that. Housing, you can solve for housing. It's a fair conversation, but you can solve for that. You can definitely easily solve for that. You can move two streets down. Boom, it's cheaper right there. Boom. All y'all need maybe save a couple $100. I mean, y'all don't hear me. But again, I hope these people. I mean, again, just get where you can afford. Get what you can afford. Okay, get somewhere decent. Get decent area, decent place, decent neighbors, decent somewhere decent, somewhere halfway decent. So you ain't gotta be sweating at night or wondering if somebody gonna break in your house or car or whatnot. Okay, because there's another reason why stuff can go up. Thefts go, and if that's too much again, because you gotta think that's too much. Forget about the rent prices, the cost of that, and some of you don't have insurance. But anyway, This concludes another episode of Night Audit. I'm your host, Chaze Barnes. If you find this video informative, please hit a like, subscribe, rate, and review, and share it with somebody that may need this. We're trying to audit problems one at a time. Okay. But till then, if you watch, this will be re-uploaded for you all for tomorrow. And again, I will see you all on the next one. Peace.